Zulu, the warrior king of the Zulu nation. Shaka Zulu remains one of the most iconic figures in African history.
Born in the late 18th century, he rose from an illegitimate child of a minor Zulu chief to become the founder of the Zulu Kingdom, a powerful state that reshaped the political and military landscape of southern Africa. His leadership, innovations in warfare, and nation-building strategies left a profound legacy, both admired and criticized. To some, Shaka was a visionary leader and military genius who united fragmented clans into a centralized kingdom. To others, he was a ruthless and brutal ruler whose reign brought widespread bloodshed. Regardless of these perspectives, his life story illustrates the complexities of leadership, power, and state formation in pre-colonial Africa.
Shaka was born around 1787, the son of Senzangakona, a minor chief of the Zulu clan, and Nandi, his mother from the Langini people. Because Shaka's parents were not officially married, his birth was considered illegitimate, and he and his mother were forced to leave Senzangakona's homestead. This early rejection had a profound impact on Shaka, shaping his determination, ambition, and resilience. Growing up among the Langini and later the Mthethwa people, Shaka experienced hardship, mockery, and exclusion, which hardened him and cultivated his fierce will to succeed. As a youth, Shaka became a herder, and it was during this time that he developed extraordinary stamina, discipline, and survival skills. He was eventually recruited into the Mthethwa military under Chief Dingiswayo, who recognized his talents and leadership qualities. Dingiswayo's mentorship gave Shaka the opportunity to refine his military skills and build a vision for transforming warfare and leadership in southern Africa. Rise to power. Shaka's rise began after the death of his father, Senzangakona.
With Dingiswayo's support, Shaka became the leader of the Zulu clan in 1816. At this point, the Zulu were a small and relatively insignificant group compared to larger neighboring clans.
However, Shaka's leadership quickly transformed them into a dominant force.
Through strategic alliances, intimidation, and conquests, he began unifying scattered clans under his rule. After Dingiswayo was killed by Zwaide, leader of the Nwandwa, Shaka emerged as the most powerful figure in the region.
He avenged Dingiswayo's death, defeated rival groups, and steadily expanded his territory.
By combining diplomacy with calculated brutality, he consolidated a centralized Zulu kingdom. His vision was not just to dominate militarily but to create a powerful and cohesive nation with a strong identity.
Military innovations. Perhaps the most famous aspect of Shaka's reign was his military genius. Shaka revolutionized warfare in southern Africa with several innovations.
Traditionally, African warfare relied on throwing spears from a distance, and battles were often indecisive.
Shaka introduced the Iklewa, a short stabbing spear with a large blade, designed for close combat.
This new weapon forced warriors into direct confrontations, making battles more decisive and brutal.
He also reorganized the army into 8 regiments called Amabutho.
Young men were recruited, trained intensively, and disciplined in a system that promoted unity, loyalty, and efficiency.
These regiments lived together in military barracks, separate from their families, which strengthened their cohesion and commitment to Shaka.
Shaka introduced new tactics, most notably the Horns of the Buffalo formation. In this strategy, the main body of warriors, known as the chest, engaged the enemy frontally, while the horns, flanking units, encircled and trapped the enemy, cutting off their retreat. A reserve force, the loins, was held back to reinforce or finish off the battle. This tactic proved devastatingly effective and enabled Shaka to defeat larger and more experienced enemies. Through these reforms, Shaka transformed warfare from small-scale clan skirmishes into organized, large-scale military campaigns. His army became one of the most feared forces in Africa, conquering rivals and expanding the Zulu Kingdom across a vast territory.
Nation building and governance. Shaka was not only a warrior but also a state builder. He centralized authority under his leadership, weakening the traditional independence of clan chiefs. By merging conquered peoples into the Zulu identity, he fostered unity, although often through coercion and force. The Zulu Kingdom became a centralized monarchy with a clear hierarchy, where Shaka was both political leader and military commander.
He instituted strict laws, discipline, and ceremonies to instill loyalty and obedience.
Shaka also promoted agricultural production, using the labor of conquered people to sustain the growing population and military campaigns.
Culturally, he elevated Zulu traditions, ceremonies, and rituals, which helped create a shared identity. However, this nation-building often came at a high cost.
Entire communities were uprooted, and those who resisted were destroyed.
His campaigns caused mass migrations, leading to what historians call the Mfikane, the crushing or scattering, a period of widespread upheaval across southern Africa.
The Mfikane and its consequences.
The Mfikane is one of the most significant events associated with Shaka's reign. His conquests and military campaigns displaced countless communities, forcing them to migrate and resettle elsewhere. While some historians argue that Shaka deliberately caused this upheaval through expansionist wars, others suggest that population pressures, competition for resources, and external factors also played a role.
The Mfikane led to the destruction of some societies and the creation of new ones. For example, displaced groups founded new kingdoms, such as the Ndebele under Mzilikazi, who broke away from Shaka. These migrations reshaped the political map of southern Africa and had long-lasting effects, even influencing interactions with European settlers later in the 19th century. Shaka's leadership style. Shaka was a charismatic and commanding figure, respected and feared by his people.
His authority was absolute, and his word was law. While he inspired loyalty through his military successes, he also ruled with cruelty and strict discipline. Warriors who showed cowardice or disobedience were executed, and harsh punishments were common. His ruthlessness extended beyond the battlefield.
Shaka often used terror as a tool to maintain control, executing rivals and suppressing dissent.
At the same time, he demonstrated visionary leadership, transforming a small clan into a powerful kingdom. His ability to think strategically, adapt to circumstances, and innovate militarily made him a unique leader in African history.
Decline and assassination. Despite his successes, Shaka's reign eventually took a darker turn.
In 1827, his mother Nandi, whom he deeply loved and respected, died.
Shaka was devastated by her death, and his grief turned into paranoia and increasingly erratic behavior.
He ordered mass mourning rituals, including bans on planting crops and the killing of pregnant women and cattle, which led to hardship and resentment among his people.
These actions alienated many of his followers and weakened his support.
In 1828, Shaka was assassinated by his half-brothers Dingane and Mlangana, with the help of a trusted servant, Bopa. His death ended his turbulent reign but paved the way for continued Zulu power under Dingane and later rulers.
Legacy of Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu's legacy is complex and contested. On one hand, he is remembered as a brilliant military strategist, a nation builder, and one of Africa's greatest leaders.
His innovations in warfare influenced not only the Zulu but also neighboring peoples. The Zulu Kingdom he founded remained a significant power in southern Africa until its eventual defeat by the British in the late 19th century. On the other hand, Shaka's reign was marked by violence, cruelty, and upheaval. The devastation of the Mfikane, the forced migrations, and the destruction of communities left scars across the region. His authoritarian rule and harsh punishments made him a feared figure, both in his time and in historical memory.
Modern historians often debate Shaka's image. Colonial accounts often painted him as a bloodthirsty tyrant to justify European conquest, while African nationalist narratives celebrate him as a symbol of resistance, unity, and African statehood.
In South Africa today, Shaka is a cultural icon, representing both pride in African heritage and the complexities of leadership and power.
Conclusion. Shaka Zulu's life and reign embody the contradictions of power, vision and brutality, unity and destruction, innovation and fear.
Rising from rejection and hardship, he created one of the most formidable states in African history. His military genius and organizational reforms transformed the Zulu from a minor clan into a mighty kingdom, while his leadership reshaped the political and social landscape of southern Africa.
Though his methods were often ruthless, Shaka's impact is undeniable. His legacy continues to spark debate, but he remains one of the most influential figures in African history, remembered as both a warrior king and a nation builder whose story is woven into the identity of the Zulu people and the broader narrative of Africa's past.